Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Pause and Effect on Air. I'm your host CJ, and today, first of all, I need to fix something with my let me just post that. Okay, I don't need to do a test. That should be fine. So let me go ahead and get some music started. Here we go. Starting off with Welcome to Crossworlds from Crosscode. I think this shuffle ought to be fine. Okay, turn that up a bit. So the last time I jumped into Unity, which was last Tuesday, I tried to, what the hell is this? Okay. So let's see. I think I'll turn this down a tiny bit more. So I was referencing a tutorial last time about, this was the playlist, a beginner-friendly tutorial for doing like a 3D platformer in Unity. So right now, I'm continuing that. So let's get started.
Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at how we can add gravity and collisions to our game. We'll be adding this to the 3D platformer series we've been building. You can download this project and the final game we're working towards by supporting us on Patreon. All the links you need can be found in the description. Okay, so we currently have a scene where we can use the keyboard or gamepad to move the player around.
So let's test that out a bit. Okay, that's on my keys. Let me, yeah. So it definitely works with my control stick as well.
At the moment, the player doesn't fall off the edge and it can pass through obstacles. To solve this, we need to add a new component to the player. We'll stop the game and select the player in the hierarchy.
Okay.
Then we'll go over to the inspector and click the Add Component button. There are two possible components that we could add to achieve what we want. The first is the character controller component. This component would allow us to quickly set up player movement that is constrained by collisions. However, there are some limitations that will make things more difficult down the line, mainly with how it detects and handles collisions. The other option, and the one we're going to use, is a rigid body. Let's search for this and add it to the player.
So remove that. Rigid body.
Adding a rigid body component will put the player under the control of Unity's physics engine, allowing it to react to collisions and forces. Let's press play to try this out. It still looks the same at the moment, but the player is now being pulled down by gravity and colliding with the platform. To demonstrate this, we'll select the platform in the hierarchy. Then we'll go to the inspector. We can see it has a box collider component.
Yep.
This is what tells Unity how to collide with this object. If we click this checkbox to disable it, we can see the player now falls through as it has nothing to collide with.
Yeah, okay.
Now that we're using a rigid body, we need to make some changes to our script. Let's stop the game and open the player controller script.
And where is that again? Here we are.
At the moment, we're updating the position of the player based on the input received. We're going to change this to use the rigid body to drive the movement instead. We'll add a field to hold a reference to the rigid body. Then, in the awake method, we'll call getComponent to retrieve the rigid body and assign it to the field.
Okay, that's where it's going. Rigid body equals get component.
Now,
Hey, Tony, thanks for tuning in for at least a hot second, and I will catch you. Oh, no, wait. Oh, you're not leaving yet. Ah, never mind. Okay.
we have the rigid body, we can set its velocity to make it move. We'll delete the line where we change the position. Then we'll calculate the desired velocity. The velocity represents the direction and speed we want to move. So the calculation will be the direction as determined by the movement input, multiplied by the speed field.
Okay.
That means most of this calculation can stay as it is. We'll change the name of the position change variable to velocity. We'll also remove the time.delta time part, as the rigid body will take the frame rate into account for us. One other thing we now need to take...
Hold on.
...rate into account for us.
SC Jolly, welcome to the stream.
One other thing we now need to take into account is gravity. The player is being pulled down by gravity, so the rigid body will have a speed in the Y direction. At the moment, we're resetting the speed in the Y direction to 0 every frame, which will cancel out the gravity. To fix this, we'll set the Y value of the desired velocity to the current Y speed of the rigid body. We can get the velocity of the rigid body from its linear velocity value.
Hold on, what symbol is that? Equals.
Then we'll just take the Y value. This will make sure the Y speed is unchanged by our calculation. Now we can set the linear velocity of the rigid body to our desired velocity. The final change we need to make to the script is to change the update method to the fixed update method. The fixed update method is where all physics calculations should be done. It's called by Unity at a fixed interval, which ensures physics calculations are consistent. As the rigid body is part of the physics system, any changes to it should be done in here. Okay, let's save this and switch back to Unity to try this out.
Okay, do I have this right? Oh, I need to... There. So, player input controller dot movement input vector dot x. 0. I have this set at 0 so that it doesn't do 3D movement. That wouldn't be terrible though, but yeah, I don't know. Times speed. Velocity.y equals rigid body dot linear velocity dot y. Rigid body dot linear velocity equals velocity. Yeah.
Now we can press the keys to move the player around. The player doesn't stay upright for long though. The forces acting on the player now cause it to fall over. We can easily fix this by freezing the rotation of the rigid body.
Okay. Please tell me I'm not going to hit an error. Oh, good.
Let's stop the game and select the player in the hierarchy.
But let me test this out, just to see what it is she's talking about. You know, this would be a really stupid thing by itself. Ah. You know, that gives me another idea. Okay, I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget it. Okay, pill game idea. Be a pill going down the esophagus. Physics similar to what's in the catcher games is add collisions and gravity to your Unity character in minutes video. Get to the stomach acid in the time limit. Hi, Nico the Coffee God. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you around before. Welcome to Pause and Effect. I'm your host, CJ. Hey guys, I'm putting hot chocolate powder in Weetabix, aka I'm making a bad decision. I don't know what Weetabix is. Hold on. Oh, it's British breakfast cereal. Got it. I mean, is that such a bad idea? It sounds half decent to me, but then again, I have different definitions of... I have different standards compared to other people.
Then we'll go to the inspector and expand the constraints section of the rigid body. We'll freeze the rotation of the rigid body on all axes.
So how are you doing that? Oh, they're checkboxes.
This will stop the player rotating and falling over. Let's press play to try this out.
Hang on. Oh, got it. Okay, sorry about that, Caramel. I dare not wonder what it is your mom did, but, either way, good to see ya. Okay, do not uncheck freeze rotation in the rigid body component. Alright, so let me see what this did. Okay, good. They're not falling over. Yeah.
Now we can move around without falling over.
Oh, ruined your recommended with true crime. Damn. Oof.
We can also fall off
I
the
know
edge
that feel.
and collide with the other platform. We stick to the side of the platform a bit, but we'll fix that in a future video. In the next video in this series, we'll look at how we can make the player jump. If you want to be alerted when this one's out, then subscribe. Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at how we can make the player jump. We'll be adding this to the 3D platformer series we've been building. You can download this project and the final game we're working towards by supporting us on Patreon. All the links you need can be found in the description. Okay, the first thing we need to do is define the input for jumping. We'll go to the Assets folder and double-click the Input Actions file. We'll click the plus button to add a...
Hold on, lady, where are you finding this? Oh, yeah. This thing.
Another action. We'll call this Jump. We'll leave the title.
Hold on, what song is this? Oh, okay. Huh. Here we go.
Type as button. Then we'll expand the new...
Hold on. Okay, I can't... That window is so small, I can't read what it's saying.
Action and select the binding. Now we can choose what input we want to trigger a jump. In the path drop-down, we'll select Gamepad button south. This will bind the...
Okay, button south, gamepad. I'm also going to add spacebar. Oh. Button south, gamepad.
The south button of the gamepad regardless of the model. So for example, if we use an Xbox controller, it will be the A button, but if we use a PlayStation controller, it will be the X button.
Yep.
We'll tick the gamepad checkbox to say that this is for the gamepad control scheme. Next, we'll add a binding for the keyboard. We'll click
Way
the
ahead
plus
of you.
button and select Add Binding. Then we'll click the Path button. We'll click Listen and press the spacebar.
Oh.
Then we'll select this to assign it. For this one, we'll tick the keyboard and mouse
Didn't realize
control
you could do
scheme.
that.
So we've now configured that we want to trigger the jump when we press the spacebar or the south button on a gamepad. Let's close this window and save when prompted. Next, we need to make use of this input. We'll navigate to the Player Scripts folder.
Oh.
Then we'll double-click to open the Player Input Controller script. What we're going to do is raise an event whenever the jump button is pressed that other scripts can listen to. We'll create a public event called onJumpButtonPressed.
And where are you doing this? Public vector 2.
We'll use a C# action as the event type, as we don't need to pass any parameters. Now we need to raise this event when the input action is triggered. We called the new input action jump, so we can create a private method called onJump to listen for it being triggered.
Private
To
void.
receive the value of the input, we need to add a parameter of type input value. Inside the method, we want to check if the button has been
hold
pressed
on.
rather than released. We can do this by checking the isPressed property of the input value. If it has been pressed, we'll
You like this account because your mother can't monitor it, so you can watch all the... okay, I get you. You don't also... I see where you're going.
invoke the event. The use of the question mark here will stop an error being thrown if there are no subscribers to the event. So now when the configured input for jumping is pressed, it will raise this event. To make use of this, we'll go...
What does that say? Invoke?
to the player controller scripts. In here, we're going to
hold on. Oh, I missed something. If input value dot is pressed, there.
Scripts. In here, we're going to execute the jump. To do this,
Alright, bitch, where are you? Here we are. Under private void fixed update.
we need to know how fast we want to jump. We'll add a float field for the jump speed.
Private float.
We'll add the
Jump
serialized field
speed.
attribute so that we can set this from Unity. We'll also add a private Boolean field to track whether the jump has been triggered.
Oh, okay.
Next,
Private bool jump triggered.
we'll create a private method that will be called when the jump button is pressed. In here, we'll simply set the Boolean field to true to indicate that the jump should be triggered. Now we need to subscribe to the player input controller jump event and tell it to use this method as an event handler. We'll do this in the awake method.
Huh. It actually kind of told me what it is I needed to do. I realize you guys probably can't see it, so, because it's being blocked by my chat. Which, again, if I could put chat in the top right window, I absolutely would. But you see that, like, butt ugly, like, sign into chat thing at the very bottom? It's like, I don't want that. I don't want to keep that. I need to... So it's kind of why I'm hiding it like this. Yeah, should be good. You appreciate that I keep politics out of my chat much calmer conversation? Yeah, because like the thing that I recognize, because I'm gonna be 34 soon, but I realize that like politics need to be discussed and have their place, but I recognize that it's a super divisive point amongst a bunch of different people, and not everyone is on the same page politically, like regardless of what region of the world that you're in. So the thing that I always try to be wary of is like having a platform free of like political conversations. Not to say that like politics shouldn't get involved, but the less those come up, the better off it is on everyone's like sanity and mental well-being. I dare argue. So they have their place. I would just prefer not to do it here. Understandably so. Hold on, what are you adding?
We use this method as an event handler. We'll do this in the awake method.
Okay.
So when the event fires, it will call this method and set the Boolean field to true. Now that we know when the jump has been triggered, we need to execute the jump. We'll do this in the fixed update method. Before we apply the velocity, we'll check if the jump has been triggered. If it has, we'll set the y component of the velocity to the jump speed. Then we need to set the Boolean back to false so that it doesn't jump again on the next frame. So now if the jump button is pressed, we'll apply a positive speed in the y direction. Let's click here to save all our scripts and switch back to Unity.
Hold on. There.
We'll select the player.
Okay. Oh, there's an error. Hold on. The type or namespace name serialized field could not be found. Hold on, I need to... Oh! Why was that part of the pear so crunchy? I hated that. Dude, I was eating an apple before stream started, and the apple, like, squirted me in the eye after I tried to bite into it. Shit, that was not fun. Okay, so yeah, it just gets so messy, and honestly, I find myself learning new things all the time when it comes to political topics, so I've just learned to observe and digest discussion rather than argue. Smart plan, Tony. Smart plan. Let me see. Okay, so serialized field, serialized field. What was the other problem? Oh, that's why. Let's see. Why is fruit mean to us, CJ? Why? Good question. Ooh, I like this song. Uh... Oh, yeah. Right. I forgot to hit postpone on that. Ah, great. Alright, Tony, thank you so much for being here, however brief it was. Maybe I'll see you later. If not, that's fine too. Then I will catch you next time. Have a good night. Jenny, welcome to the stream. God, how long is it going to take for this to optimize? Why is it so hot in here? Oh, cleaning up. Hey, it's done. Oh my god. Ooh, you're back with cupcakes. Wait, what kind of cupcakes? Can I have one? Private void on move. Input value, input value. Both of these are the same. This is making very little sense right now.
We want to invoke the parameter of
Yeah, I have public event action on jump button press. I'll leave this song on. It's an Octopath Traveler song. You had salted caramel vanilla crunch cakes for dessert for your anniversary dinner? Oh, happy anniversary!
rather than release. If it stop an error being thrown,
Action player input controller dot on jump button press. Ah, happy 15 years, Jenny. Happy for you. They were your hometown's council brought high schoolers from a fancy school to your youth hub. You know what? I believe it. Private void on jump cap. Oh, that's fucking why. God damn it. It's always syntax every fucking time. Every fucking time. This is why I could never be a professional programmer, because everything is going to go wrong because I miscapitalized one fucking thing or another. Like, I shouldn't even be mad about that. I'm just like, I'm putting this one on. Okay. You know, I have an idea. Actually, wait, no. I wouldn't even know how to do that. So leave it.
If there are no subscribers to the call this method and set the boolean rest will apply a script. Then we'll go to the
Let me guess. I gotta go in player. Jump speed, let's 5. You think developers copy paste so they don't screw up the code? That makes sense, but I'm trying to do this by hand. Ah, that's kind of an interesting way of doing things. Oh, I can just jump indefinitely. I see. Wait.
inspector and set the jump speed to 8.
Oh, they wanted to set it to 8. Got it.
Let's press play to try this out. Now we can press the spacebar to jump. There's a slight problem at the moment though. We can keep pressing the spacebar to jump higher and higher. In the next video in this series, we'll fix this by only allowing the player to jump if they're on the ground. If you want to be alerted when this one's out, then subscribe and click the bell icon. If you have any questions or feedback on this video, let us know in the comments. Hi guys! In this video, we're going to look at how we can detect the ground beneath the player and ensure that they can only jump if they're on the ground. We currently have this scene where the player can move around and jump. At the moment, there's nothing stopping us jumping repeatedly while in the air.
Correct.
We created this in our 3D platformer series, so take a look if you want to know how it was done. You can download this project and the final game we're working towards by supporting us on Patreon.
I will not be doing that.
Can be found in the description. Okay, first of all we'll look at how we're going to detect the ground. There are several different ways this can be done in Unity, but we're going to use something called a sphere cast. This projects a sphere in a certain direction and reports back on what it collides with. So we'll project the sphere from the base of the player downwards. If the sphere hits the ground just beneath the player, then the player is on the ground and we can jump. If it doesn't hit anything or the ground is further away, then the player is in the air and we can't jump. Okay, before we create a script to do the sphere cast, we're going to reposition the player capsule. At the moment, it's the centre of the capsule that's actually rendered at the position of the player game object. So, as the player is currently positioned at 2.5 on the y-axis, the centre of the capsule is positioned at 2.5 on the y-axis. It will make the ground detection much easier if we change this, so that the bottom of the capsule is rendered at the position of the player. To do this, we're going to use a child game object for the graphics of the player. We'll right-click on the player in the hierarchy. Then we'll select 3D Object, Capsule. We'll name this Graphics. Now we have a capsule that is a child of the player game object. We can see that this has overlapped the original capsule. What we want to do is offset the position of the child object so that its base is at the position of the player. The height of the capsule is 2, so we need to raise it by half of this. We'll do this by setting its Y position to 1. We can see that the grey capsule is now higher. By setting the position on a child object, its position is offset by this much from its parent. In this case, the player is the parent and has been set to 2.5 on the y-axis. We're offsetting the child graphics object by 1 on the y-axis, resulting in it having a final position of 3.5. We only want to use this child object for the graphics. It currently also has a capsule collider component, which is used for detecting collisions. We'll remove this by clicking the 3 dots next to the component and selecting Remove
Remove the collider?
Component. Next, we'll remove the original capsule from the player. We'll select the player in the hierarchy. We want to remove the components related to rendering the capsule. These are the Capsule Mesh Filter and the Mesh Renderer. We'll click the 3 dots next to these components and select Remove Component.
In the player? Girl, are you insane? Oh wait, no, hold on. I get what it's doing. Right.
Now the original capsule has been removed. We still have a capsule collider on the player though. This is used by the physics system to detect collisions with the player. We still want this, but we need to adjust it to match the new position of the capsule. Let's switch to the Scene tab. In here we can see the outline of the capsule collider beneath the player. We need to raise this so that it overlaps the capsule perfectly. To do this, we'll set the centre of the collider to 1 on the y-axis. Now
Yes.
how the player collider aligns with the graphics. The final adjustment we'll make is to lower the player to 1.5 on the y-axis, so that it sits on the platform again. OK, next we'll create a script to detect the ground. We'll navigate to the Player Scripts folder. Then we'll click the plus button and add a new monobehavior script.
Okay. Create monobehavior script.
We'll name this Ground Controller.
There. Wait, I just realized. Guilty Gear Strive. This might cause problems. Here we go. I want to see what this is. Hold on. Okay.
Once it's loaded, we'll drag the script onto the player in the hierarchy to assign it.
Okay.
Once loaded, we'll drag the script onto the player in the hierarchy to assign it.
Wait, hold on. Where did she drag it?
Assign it. Name this Ground Controller. Once it's loaded, we'll drag the script onto the player in the hierarchy to assign it.
Okay, I'm not tripping. She said player.
Then we'll double-click the file to open it in the editor. We'll start by deleting the start method as we won't be needing it. Then we'll add some fields. The first one will be a float field for the ground distance tolerance. If the distance to the ground is less or equal to this value, then the player will be deemed to be on the ground. Having a tolerance value ensures slight inaccuracies don't result in unreliable ground detection. We'll add the serialized field attribute so we can set this from the inspector. Then we'll add a layer mask field for the ground.
Okay. Private layer mask.
This will allow us to select which layers to check against. For example, we could put enemies in a different layer and exclude them from the ground detection.
Okay.
We'll make this serializable as well. Then we'll add a private field for the capsule collider of the player.
Okay, so both of these are serialized fields. Private capsule collider.
Unity uses this to detect collisions with the player. We'll use this to ensure the size of the sphere cast.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I'm going to pause the music for a moment. I will be right back. I need to use the bathroom. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm actually going to restart the song. Here we go.
Matches the size of the player. Next, we'll add a public Boolean property that returns whether the player is on the ground. We'll make the setter private, as we only want to be able to change it from within this script. Then we'll add another public float property that returns the distance to the ground. We'll make the setter for this one private as well. If there is no ground below the player, then we'll set this value to null. To allow this, we need to make the type nullable by adding the question mark. Next, we'll add the awake method.
Oh, you have a question for me, Caramel? Or Nico? Sure, go ahead. Caramel, Nico, same diff, honestly. Okay. Private, void, awake.
In here, we'll get the capsule collider component and assign it to the field. Now we have everything we need to detect the ground. We'll do this every frame in the update method. We'll start by calculating the radius of the sphere we're going to cast.
Have I made any new music as of late? Good question. I've been, like, kinda on and off trying to make music. I've got, like, the ideas in my head. I just really need to find the time to actually, like, get in the lab, quote unquote, and, like, try shit out. But I don't know. I've been, like, trying to write stuff as well. So like, my focus has been, for the past week and a half or so, just, like, attempting, like a crazy person, to just, like, write chapters of a story. And I don't know if I'm going to publish it or where, but yeah, no, I'm still like trying to figure it out. I made something a couple weeks ago. I thought, no, I haven't published anything since. Let's go to the SoundCloud. Oh, did it log me out? Come on, man. All right, hold up. Huh? There we are. Okay, I guess I'm going to need to expand this a bit. Okay, so the last time I published anything was 2 months ago for Halloween. Honestly, I am very surprised that both Haunting and Moonflower got as many listens as they did. That is a record, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, no, the last thing was like 2 months ago. So nothing new just yet.
For this,
Okay.
we'll use the radius of the player's capsule collider. We'll reduce the radius by 0.1. This is
Horizon? No, that I made that during my last music making stream, I think. Yeah, I published Haunting and Horizon roughly around the same time. Is that it? Yes. You're still excited to see me play I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? Yeah, I have my streams planned out for the rest of this month. I'm probably gonna have to because like you have recommended it, Pickle recommended it, someone else recommended it. I don't remember who it was. But if 3 people want it, then I'm like, okay, bet.
so that we don't detect collisions with obstacles the player may be standing right next to. Next, we'll calculate the origin of the sphere cast. We want it to go from the base of the player, so we'll use the player's position. This will place the centre of the sphere at the very bottom of the player. We need to raise this so that the whole of the sphere will always travel through the ground. We'll raise it by the radius of the player's capsule collider. We can do this by adding a vector 3 with the y-axis value equal to the capsule collider radius.
So when am I going to stream it? Probably sometime in February. Don't know specifically when. Anyway, gotta go, Toodles. Alright, Nico the Coffee God / Caramel Feather, thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you on the next stream. Have a good one. Okay, 0.
Now we can execute the sphere cast by typing physics.spherecast. We'll pass in the calculated origin. Then we'll pass in the radius. The next parameter is for the direction of the cast. We want to cast downwards, so we'll use vector 3 down. This creates a vector with -1 in the y direction. The next parameter allows us to...
Hey, Shadow Milk Cookie / Poseidon of the Seas, welcome to the stream. However, I'm pretty sure this is day 4. This is either day 4 or day 5.
To access information about anything the sphere cast hits. It's an out parameter, which means its value is set by the method. Its type is rayCastHit. So if the sphere hits anything, the details of the collision will be stored in this variable. Next, we'll set how far we
Raycast hit.
want the sphere to be cast. We'll set this to 1000. The next parameter is the layer mask that determines what layers are included. We'll pass in the ground layer mask field. The final parameter determines whether we should check against trigger colliders. Trigger colliders are a different type of collider that objects can pass through. They are used to detect if an object is within a certain area without blocking movement. The ground will never use a trigger collider, so we'll set this to ignore. The sphere cast returns a Boolean value, indicating whether it has hit anything. We'll store the result in a variable. So if it
What the fuck does any of this mean? I am so goddamn confused. God, I'm sure there's a much easier method within Unity to detect ground collision, but they are really giving me the rundown on this one. Oh, wow. Hold on. Okay, so let's see. Bool is ground below equals physics.spherecast, spherecast origin, spherecast radius, vector3 dot down, out dot raycast hit info 1000 ground layer mask. Oh, there's no dot there. Got it. Guys, no cussing. I don't like bad words because it is illegal. Too bad. It's my stream. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. Ooh, accidentally got rid of a T there. Okay, is my syntax correct here? Raycast hit. Okay, the C is not capitalized. Neither is mine. That's good.
Returns true, we know there is ground below the player. The next thing we need to do is set the distance to ground property. First of all, we'll check if there is ground below. If there is, we'll calculate the distance the player is from the ground. We can do this by subtracting the Y position of the collision point from the Y position of the player.
Equals.
We can get the collision point from the hit info point value. If there is no ground below the player, we'll set the distance property to null. Now we can set the is grounded value. It will be true if there is ground below the player, and if the distance to the ground is less than or equal to the tolerance value. Okay, now we have all the code to check if the player is on the ground each frame. Let's save this file and switch to the player controller script.
What the hell? There we go. I'm so glad that this thing is telling me shit, because otherwise I do not understand shit about this script. But then again, like, if it works, then the best thing for me to do is just reference it in future projects. Ah, okay. It's cold up here.
In here, we're going to make use of the ground controller to check if the player is on the ground before jumping. We'll add a field for the ground controller.
Okay, so private ground controller.
Then, in the awake method, we'll get the ground controller component and assign it to the field.
This is under Private Void Awake? Yes.
We currently trigger the jump when the jump button is pressed. We'll add a check to only trigger the jump if the player is on the ground. Now, if the player is in the air when the jump button is pressed, the jump won't be. Triggered. Let's save this script and switch back to Unity. We'll select the player in the hierarchy.
Hold on.
Ground.
Private ground controller underscore ground controller. It's line 12. I didn't misspell the script, did I? No, I clearly... Huh. Is it because of where it's being called?
We currently trigger the jump when the jump button is pressed. Press. We'll add a check to only trigger the jump if the player is on the ground. Now, if the player is in the air when the jump button is pressed, the jump won't be triggered. Let's save this script and switch back to Unity. We'll select the player to trigger the jump if the player is pressed. Then we'll set the ground distance tolerance to 0.1. This will give a tolerance of 10 centimeters. We'll set the ground layer mask to everything for now, so it detects collisions with all layers.
Private player input controller, player input controller, private ground controller, ground controller. I have no idea what went wrong here.
Play press. Set the Now we can keep pressing the spacebar and the player will only jump when they're on the ground.
Type or namespace name ground controller could not be found. Are you missing a using directive or an assembly reference? I wonder if there's a comment about this. Okay, let me see what they're doing. Hmm. Okay, but like I syntaxed this correctly. Hmm.
Let's say the player is on the ground before jumping. We'll add a field for the ground controller. Then, in the awake method, we'll get the ground controller component and assign it to the field. We currently trigger the jump when the jump button is pressed.
Okay, so get component is correct. Okay, this is a more deep recent thing. Let me turn this off just so I can focus here. This property drawer script needs to be in an editor only assembly. Hmm.
Hello guys, after updating my Unity and transferring my project to a new Unity version, I've got this problem here. When I open a file with code, there's lots of errors in it. And now I'm gonna show you how to fix that in no time. You just go to the Unity, Edit, Preference, and hit Regenerate Project Files. Just one.
Is that it?
To the Unity, Edit, Preference, and hit Regenerate.
Or what specifically? External tools?
Generate project files. Just one button and it's done. No more errors. Enjoy. See you. Subscribe.
Yeah, this isn't helping me. No, I'm not installing AI. Your Nintendo is tweaking the hell out and it won't work? Well, what is it doing?
We'll add a check to only trigger the jump if the player is on the ground.
I don't think there's anything wrong with this script itself. Like, this method suddenly stopped working. Same error.
We'll add a field for the ground
Man,
controller.
what the fuck am I missing?
Then, in the awake method, we'll
Okay, I did that exact.
get the ground controller component and assign it to the field. We currently trigger the jump when the jump button is pressed. We'll add a check to only trigger the jump if the player is on the ground. Now, if the player is in the air when the jump button is pressed, the jump won't be triggered. Let's save this script and switch back to Unity. We'll select the player in the hierarchy. Then we'll set the ground distance tolerance to 0.1. This will give a tolerance of 10 centimeters. We'll set the ground layer mask to everything for now, so it detects collisions with all layers. Then we'll press play to try it out. Now we can keep pressing the space.
Yeah, again, I have literally no idea what's going on here. God, I hope there's somebody out there watching this stream that understands my problem. Oh, wait, hold on. God, and this being a recent tutorial, like, there's no reason why this shouldn't work. Okay, I have one idea. Okay. Nuke this project, reopen it. Having to open this in safe mode. What the fuck? What do you mean you're trying to force me to load it in safe mode? There's nothing wrong with the project. And suddenly everything's gone. What the fuck? Dude, I copied this entire shit verbatim from this video. Why is it having problems? I don't fucking understand this.
Spacebar, and the player will only jump when they're on the ground. Let's save this file and switch to the player controller script.
Okay. So this whole thing just decided to my scripts are intact, but it nuked the character controller and everything else I had. God, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, SC Jolly, because I just put that back in the scene. But my player controller is gone. I really don't want to have to go back through this. Setting this up was already such a goddamn pain to begin with. No, there's no undo button because Unity, like, deleted shit and forcefully saved over everything. Right. Dude. Oops. Rigid body. Five, 8, 0.1, everything. Okay, let me see if that fixed it. Okay, so it's parented to the player now. What? Wait, did it nuke my Unity file too? Huh. Let me see something. Hey, Lazy Gaming, welcome back. Player input. Okay. So let's see if this actually... Okay. Okay, so... SC Jolly, I got it working back to how it was. Thank God for that. But, also, it's helpful now that, the camera actively follows the player. I want to move that camera a little further forward, though. Okay, I think I want to unparent it, though. Okay, hold up. Okay. Wait. Oh. Okay, I see where it messed up. So it forced a new Unity scene. So everything else was fine. I just had to. I get it. So Unity force opened a new scene because I had to boot my shit in safe mode. Okay, so what? So what do I need? A capsule mesh filter? And I need a mesh renderer. Oh, wait, no. There you are. Huh. I don't know why it's going. Yeah, I don't understand why it's going halfway through the platform. Oh, wait. Is that why? Was it because of the collider? Oh, yeah. That was 100% the reason why. Okay. So I'm not going to use this method. It said something earlier about going halfway through the floor. We figured it out, SC Jolly. Okay, Unity, prevent. Okay, move this. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, for the idea that I was having, let's uncheck freeze rotation. There. Yeah, this kind of works. Oops. Hmm. I love how it's just opposing friction that allows me to stay stuck to the wall. Okay. Song's kind of cool, but I'm gonna skip it. Yeah.
And the player will only jump when they're on the ground. Upgrading from a capsule to this Viking troll character. If you want to be alerted when this one's out, then subscribe.
Oh wait, was that all of them? Huh, that was all of them. So this ground detection thing was the problem that I was having. But I wonder if they have anything else.
Would you like to?
Uh, 4 years ago?
Hi guys!
Let's see. Let's see what you have to say.
In our previous video,
Free
we designed
code
our
script
first
on my
level of the
Patreon,
tarmacs
bruh.
and got our camera following our player. In this video, we're going to get our character jumping around onto these platforms with double jumps and gravity effects. So let's go! First things first, let's add a jump input into our player controller's input system. So let's open up player controller.
Okay, I've already done
Our
this.
move, we can put the plus button. You can click save asset and close this off. Now back on our player, if we go under events, then player, you can see our move function. Then we have a new one for jump. So let's double click on our script to open it up and add a function for our jump. To keep your scripts tidy, you can add headers to your scripts, which display it back on your objects, so it's easy to keep track of all these public parameters. So I'm going to add one for movement and one for jumping. To make our jumping a little more interesting, back in the script, we can type else if context.cancelled, which means we pressed our button but didn't hold it down, so like a light tap. Then we can set our rigid body velocity equal a new vector 2, pass in our rigid body velocity x, and instead of jump power, we'll set it.
I wonder if there's anything similar in my script that I can adjust here. You know, I have a really stupid idea. Alright, Essie Jolly, thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you next time. Have a great rest of your night. Ooh, I'm actually going to put these songs up at the top. There. All right. Let's see. The thing that I'm thinking is like adding a script to the player controller that is like while while position dot y is greater than hang on. For me to properly test this, I need to turn this off. I guess, for example, like, while position dot while player position dot y is greater than I feel like I would need to declare that. Unity method that compares Okay, I don't want to really use the AI overview, but let me see what it says. You compare an object's current position to its starting position by storing the starting position in a vector3 variable at the start of the game, and then C# store compare a start position and actual position. Let me see what he's doing here. Variable current position equals transform.position. If current position does not equal last position, do something. Maybe not does not equal last position, but greater than last position. This is going to be one of the stupidest ideas I have ever done. I mean, I don't think this is gonna work. Hmm. Hey, Pickle McDillionaire, welcome to the stream. I am losing my shit right now. Like trying to figure something out. Okay. Um Oops, I gotta plug my headset in. There we go. Um if current position is greater than last position. Yeah, figured that wasn't going to do anything. Okay. Something fell over behind me, and it doesn't seem like... Oh! It was my AirPod case in my pocket. I wondered where that went. Ah. Yeah, man, I don't know. You know, while I'm thinking about it, I think there's a thing I can add to this script. He looks like a little pill. Yeah, that is, that's the general idea of, Because you want just a standard character body in order to test all your physics first. Okay, dash. Wait. Okay. Billy the Kid. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I have shift on the keyboard, button west on the gamepad. Move, jump, dash. I'm going to call attack as well. Yeah. There. So that ought to work for now. Okay, save that. Now go into script. Okay, let's try this. Public event action on dash button pressed. Private void on dash input value if input value dot is pressed on dash button pressed dot invoke. I just want to try a method for myself to see if I can actually do this shit. Private bool dash triggered. Okay, where is this getting called? Ah, okay. Ouch. Well, let me see something here. Vector 3 velocity equals new vector dot 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 dot. Let me see. If dash triggered. Velocity dot x plus equals 5 dash triggered equals oh wait, no, this needs to be a while. Claire, it's in. I mean, Pickle, I had kind of an idea of like a game where you are just a pill. Like each level you're going through the esophagus. Like you start at the tongue and you're going through the esophagus trying to reach the stomach acid. Get to the stomach acid. Get to the stomach acid as fast as you can. Uncheck freeze rotation in the rigid body component. Osmosis Jones the game? Almost. Ugh, excuse me. Let's see. While dash triggered. The field player controller dash trigger is assigned, but its value is never used. Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. Now, huh? The editor froze. Man. Let me bring up the task manager. Force end that task. I can close that out. Task manager is goated. Yes, I love it. Wait, you know what? I think I see where I went wrong. I think. All right, it needs to be right. Speed plus equals 5. Actually, one thing I should probably do, make sure I freeze my rotation again. What song is this? There. I think I'm actually going to play this for the rest of the stream, which isn't going to be much longer. Yeah, it froze again. Yeah, you know what? I think it's probably for the best that I cut my losses and just call it done for the night. Then when next week rolls around, I'll see about trying to get something else figured out with this stream or with this game. Just, man. Like, I don't know what the hell is going with this, but I guess I will have to figure something out for next time. But that's going to be it for the stream, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the bell to get notified every time I upload and go live. Thank you for tuning in to my other videos and my shorts. That really means a lot to me. I've got more coming as always. Keep an eye out for the next game I play for Saturday's video, and tune in tomorrow. I am going to be streaming... oh yes, I'm finishing out the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined demo, and if there's time, which I know there's probably going to be, I can always stream something else alongside it. If anyone has any suggestions, then, you know what? I'll figure something out, but I think I have a few ideas. Either way, thanks for hanging out with me, vibing with me, and chatting with me, even if not all of that chatter was directed at me, but I greatly appreciate your time and your company. Once again, this has been Pause and Effect on Air. I've been your host, CJ, and I will see you all tomorrow for Dragon Quest. Have a great rest of your night.